We've got a speaker. Listen, we've got a speaker who's coming on next, who knows about Beechholme. He's been in there. And it's very hard for this man to come up and explain to you exactly what has gone on, and you're not hearing it from the papers until shit lies. You're hearing it from the man himself. Give this gentleman a round of applause. Justice for beach survivors. Give the man another round of applause, please. Thank you guys. I don't want to do public speeches, so let's start by telling you about the name's Merrit. I was in care from the age of 2. They called it respite care, where I was put in and out of care. I was in 5 children's home up to the age of 6. When I was 6 years of age, a judge said to me, would you like to go to the seaside? So I went before a juvenile court. I had the big crest on the wall with the horse or the unicorn, and the judge looked down at me, a little boy, and he said, would you like to go to the seaside, Sonny boy? And I said to him, seaside? I've never been to the seaside. And they put me in a children's home called Beechholme in Banstead, Surrey, where I was abused in 3 of the 4 houses I was in. There was 24 houses in this home, and people committed suicide for the abuse that was happening in Beechholme.
Oh my God.
And basically I'm 64 years of age, and to this day, me standing here today, I've never received my care records. It was said earlier on when they were speaking over there that records have been held back from kids. Now, Wandsworth were responsible for Beechholme, and I went in there when I was 6. I went in a house called Laburnum. They named every house after a tree. And Laburnum was run by a house parent. We had to call them aunties. We had to. They said you have to call them aunties and uncles. The male staff were uncles. Auntie Grace Robinson, her name was. If you saw Hilda Ogden in Coronation Street, she was the spitting image. Evil, horrible woman in real life. She used to slap, when they put you in shorts, she used to slap your legs constantly. They used to put you in the bath. When in the bath, they used to scrub you with a floor scrubbing brush. And they used to put carbolic soap in your eyes, in your mouth. They used to touch you in the bath, and they used to do all sorts of things to you. There was no woman in this house called Audrey Wilson. And I was in the dormitory one night, and she came into this bedroom, and she started touching me in the bed. And Beechholme was lined by trees, and that's what it was called, Beechholme, because it was lined by beech trees. And the street lights used to make a dancing pattern on the ceiling, and this dancing pattern was broken by this shadow. It's leaning over me, a really big woman standing over me and touching me. I was only about 7 or 8. I'd never ever wet the bed, and I actually pissed the bed. I crawled into a corner of the bed, and I hid, and I curled into a little ball, and I stayed there till morning light. And I was so petrified, and I got beaten and knocked down the stairs for wetting the bed. They told me to take my bed sheets and wash them in the bath. I did that, and I was constantly beaten and abused in this house. I went to the Larch House, and there was a guy called Ian McNeil, Uncle Ian. He was a very, very strong, fit man. He used to punch you with his fist. He punched me so hard one day, he lifted me off the ground and knocked me into the next room. He used to grab hold of me. He used to grab hold of me, and he used to put you in a headlock. And he was so strong, I couldn't do anything. He was grabbing up against me, and I couldn't do anything. He used to pin you to the floor, and he used to do all sorts of things to you. I couldn't do nothing. I wasn't strong enough. I ran away from Beechholme several times. I went to Metropolitan Police and told them about the abuse that went in the Beechholme. They took me back in the Black Maria and put me before Geoffrey Banner, the superintendent of the home. And he said, little boys like you that tell lies get sent away. You get sent to a mental institution, or you'll be sent to Stanford House.
Just like Beverly Shaw.
And so we weren't allowed to speak. We didn't have a voice. And as I said, to this day, while I was in care, I should have had medical records. We didn't know what drugs they were giving us. I haven't seen any of the records. They should have given us records of our welfare. Because when we was child, we called it your childcare officers, CCOs. And supervision orders were taken out of us and we were put in so many. I had a short stay in Shirley Oaks, and Shirley Oaks, we know about Shirley Oaks. Beechholme was twice the size of Shirley Oaks with 24 houses in it. It had a church which burnt down in 1968, and that was done by one of the children. There was a girl called Vicky Campion who was abused by the superintendent of Beechholme, Mr. Geoffrey Banner. She took her own life. And there was another girl called Mary Nelson. She jumped off Westminster Bridge near the Houses of Parliament and committed suicide. Was her name ever mentioned? And to this day, has there ever been an inquiry into Beechholme and the historic and physical, sexual and mental abuse that happened to children in the 60s and 70s? It closed in 1972, and Wandsworth Council were responsible for Beechholme as from 64, but it was part of the old GLC, London County Council, when I was a boy. And I was born in Hammersmith, and it was Hammersmith that placed me, took supervision orders out of me and put me into care. All my four of us, my two sisters and my other brother, we were all put in Beechholme. I was the youngest of the four. And even when I was young and 4, my abuse started at home because my dad used to hit us with a leather belt. I used to climb under a table. There was a cardboard box under the table. And I suffered for 20 years. And I kind of like met my wife and I tried to bury it and forget about it. And one day, because I live in Lincolnshire, not in the next county now, with my wife, Lincolnshire girl, good girl. And I used to have night tremors, even when I was in my 30s. And my wife used to calm me down and pat me. And I used to jump up fighting in the room right, in the middle of the night, because I could see this shadow through the light coming through the window. And I saw a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist said to me, there was nothing wrong with you. The only thing wrong with you is your memory, and it will never ever let you forget. Mentally, you're not ill, but you've suffered some trauma from life. And London was like my Beirut when I was a young kid. I slept rough on the streets of London, and I didn't really have a life right up to my 20s, probably 28. And when I met my wife, and I got married when I was about 35, and I'm 64 now. So what I've got and what I've done it all on my own.
Well done.
Before this man goes on, before this man goes, give this man a round of applause, please. Thank you for sharing it.
Let everybody know.
And that's what you're hearing. We're getting more and more people coming out.
Well done, well done. You are a hero.
It's about Melanie. It's about Melanie, guys. It's about Melanie.
She is a warrior.
Every victim that's gone through this, every victim deserves justice. That's it, innit?
Just think, we're all one family.
Yeah.
We're all one family now.
We have got to get justice.
Yeah, we want justice for what's happened to us in our name by our tax money.
The biggest perpetrator got to be prosecuted.
Well, after you shake the man's hand, right.
Yeah, well, yeah. Emotional like that.
If only we could have more people coming on the streets and come to these places, it'd be a better world. 'Cause